Hi, my name is Terry, and you're watching Terry Tells the Story. Today, we're picking up where we left off yesterday with part two of our series on the miracle drug Pervitin, which eliminated the need for sleep. The effects of the drug were not without cost. As the war progressed, the downsides became impossible to ignore. After 36 to 48 hours of wakefulness, soldiers began to experience extreme irritability, heart palpitations, and hallucinations. The fearlessness they claimed to have experienced often turned into reckless behavior that led to unnecessary casualties. Furthermore, the crash following a perpented fuel stint was devastating. Soldiers would fall into a deep comatose-like sleep for 24 hours or more, leaving them vulnerable if the enemy counterattacked during their recovery phase. By 1941, the German medical authorities, led by Reich Health leader Leonardo Conti, attempted to restrict the use of Pervitin. He recognized that the nation was becoming addicted to a highly dangerous substance. Under the opium law, Pervitin was reclassified as a restricted substance. However, on the front lines, demand only grew. As the German army invaded the Soviet Union, the vast distances and brutal conditions made the drug feel like a necessity for survival. On the Eastern Front, doctors reported that Pervitin was the only thing keeping men from collapsing in sub-zero temperatures. In one recorded instance, a group of 500 soldiers surrounded by the Red Army in temperatures of minus 30 degrees Celsius were saved when their medical officer distributed Pervitin. The drug increased their body temperature and gave them the mental endurance to break through the encirclement. The addiction wasn't limited to the rank and file. High-ranking officials were also heavily reliant on stimulants. Adolf Hitler's personal physician, Theodor Morell, famously injected the leader with a cocktail of vitamins, hormones, and various drugs, including Eucadol, an opioid, and likely Pervitin derivatives, to keep him functioning as his health declined and the war turned against Germany. As the Allied bombing intensified and German industry began to crumble, the quality and availability of Pervitin shifted. In the final years of the war, the military even experimented with a miracle drug known as D9. This was a cocktail containing 5 milligrams of cocaine, 3 milligrams of Pervitin, and 5 milligrams of Eucadol. It was tested on prisoners in the Sachsenhausen concentration camp, who were forced to march with 44-pound packs until they collapsed. The goal was to create a pill that would allow a soldier to keep marching indefinitely. The war ended before D9 could be mass-produced. The legacy of Pervitin didn't end in 1945. After the war, both the West German Bundeswehr and the East German National People's Army kept Pervitin in their medical kits for decades, considering it an essential emergency supply. It wasn't until the 1970s and 80s that it was finally removed from military stocks and pharmacies. The use of Pervitin in World War II changed the nature of combat. It proved that while chemistry could temporarily bypass the human need for rest, the physiological and psychological debt eventually has to be paid. The fearless soldiers of the Blitzkrieg were not just a product of training or ideology, but the result of a massive state-sponsored experiment in chemical endurance. So, the Spanish I'm going to be teaching you today is la pastilla. La pastilla. And what that means is the pill. If you like this video or you learned something new, drop a like down below. If you have a specific topic you'd like to see me cover, drop me a comment. And if you'd like to support this work that I do, there'll be a link to the Cash App in the description box below. We'll see you next time.